questions. One is that the sciences have been enormously successful. I don't mean only physics, but also the life sciences and various other sciences. And they all rely on variants of classical logic, except for quantum logic, which is non-distributive. But other than that, it's all classical. So why do you expect to get better results and insights by using a non-classical dialectical logic and a non-classical Lacanian logic? If you do, but from some of the earlier talks I felt that's the kind of, so why non-classical? So that's one question. And the second question is, how do you see the future of automation unfolding with artificial...
Sorry, what was the second term? Automation and?
And no, automation in the form of artificial intelligence, biogenetics, and all of these kinds of things which alter the human situation in quite radical ways if they do unfold.
Oh,
so how do you see that?
This is a nice question. First, the second one. You know, I was just reading some books on it, and you know, there are 2-3 positions that I totally reject. The first one is this typically European cultural conservatism. Oh my God, we will all be automats, end of humanity, and so on. Then there is the crazy optimism, people like Ray Kurzweil and so on, ooh, happy era, singularity, we will all be one mind, and so on and so on. I try to avoid these extremes. So my answer is, my first position is, I agree with you here, I have no problem, and my Lacanian Hegelian orientation poses no obstacle here, that with what is happening today with cognitive sciences, biogenetics, and so on, is something that affects deeply our being human. Literally, human nature is changing. In what sense? In the sense of what till now we perceived as our spontaneous natural properties, we can manipulate them, and also the way our mind connects with external reality. For example, one mega important point of research is that we are more and more able to directly connect our brains to the computer without any language symbolic interaction. I even heard, I don't know if it's true, that Stephen Hawking no longer needs that one finger that he was able. Sorry? I know, it's there, I have some German friends who, the good German Nazi totalitarians, you know, they know everything, they inform me on it. So this, I think, totally changes our human identity, which is based on this. Reality is out there, here I am, free at least in my thought, in my mind. Now, on the one hand, we are ready with our mere thinking to affect reality. I think about something, it happens. But you know, what goes out also goes in. That is to say, it also means that I can be, up to a certain point, controlled, and it's very seriously developed. For example, I'm sorry if some of you know it, but this story, I used it 2 times, but at NYU and some other places, they're making these experiments. They already work with rats. You take a rat, they can connect with the computer. It's very limited, but it already works. There are neurons which give orders to their legs how to move. So you can literally, I was shocked, they showed me a video recording, you can direct a rat, play with it as with a remote control toy car. So a rat is running around, you click, connect it, and then you can direct the rat how it runs. And now comes the most beautiful thing. My friends told me that they also did, but they don't want yet to make it public and so on, the same experiment on humans. And the result is pretty horrifying. Why? Because they were interested in this problem. If we do the same with the human, how will the human being experience that moment of now I am connected? Will it be, oh my God, I don't control myself, some foreign power to, no. The horror is that when they asked the human person, you know, they told him just walk around. And then without telling him, click, click, they directed, it's very elementary, just vaguely the direction where he was running. He thought he was free. He didn't feel anything. Isn't this pretty scary? I mean, you know. No, but I'm not a pessimist. I'm just saying this is one thing that is changing. Then the change, although it's very primitive, then the genetic manipulation, changes of our, like, is it not, that's why Jürgen Habermas is in panic for years. Is it not that our whole conception of pedagogy is, let's say we compete, you and me, it will not be that stupid post, then I have to invite you for dinner or whatever. It's simply that we, for a certain exam, let's say that you work like crazy, honestly, and I just take a certain pill or some biogenetic manipulation, and I do almost nothing, but through some direct way, I learn it immediately. And I win. But in a way, it's totally unjust. So, you know, how, and what happens with our free will and so on, I think, I'm here a crazy optimist, that it's not as simple as that even free will can be changed. I don't believe in all those experiments that now it's proven that we humans don't have the free will. All I'm saying is that it will affect deeply our identity. You know why? Because the entire human creativity is based on our symbolization, and as all intelligent evolutionary biologists from Daniel Dennett onwards, but also there are other better, just don't read Steven Pinker, he is a total idiot. The proof is that he attacks me 2 times, but that's another thing. Will tell you, you know that language was created to lie. Language is by definition unilateral, reductionist, and that's what's the strength of language. So all those ideas I read now, is it translated here? It's ingenious. Liu 16 three-body problem, a mega, you should read it, a Chinese mega hit now science fiction story about our contact with another civilization, which the idea is this, that they have such strong electromagnetic waves that they don't need language. Like the waves radiate. This is why they don't understand what does it mean. This is the first communication when they come to Earth, disagreement, because they don't see the distinction between thinking and speaking. They said, but I think and my thoughts are immediately emitted out. But I wonder what this means, because then I wonder if even science can exist like that. Because again, our whole thinking is possible only in this, I claim, eroticized universe where you can lie, where you don't tell. We don't exist as humans without the ability to cheat, to create the wrong impression in very complex ways, and so on and so on. So again, I wonder, I don't know, but we should be genuinely open here. If our thoughts will become immediately, we are far from there. Although we are not as far as you can see. I read that they already can detect your basic attitudes, fear, hatred, whatever, and they are getting further and further. They are already at the edge of directly identified some contents of your mind. What happens if we, in this sense, become transparent? And the especially interesting thing is, what happens when through this identification, for example, if we are dealing with a Freudian subject, a subject who is divided, who has an unconscious, and so on and so on. And to return to my previous joke about coffee, which is without cream or without milk, I wonder if in this, how do you call it, directly emitted through wave thoughts without language, can you distinguish the two? You can emit the thought coffee, but can you emit differentiality? Can you emit the difference between coffee without cream and coffee without milk, which is physically the same coffee and so on? One thing, it's clear that the moment we have this transparency of thoughts, eroticism is out. And that is the clear dream. You have it already in the 1920s in Soviet Union. You know that the first Gnosticists were the Bolsheviks. There was a whole movement in Russia in 1920s where they claimed, even Trotsky wrote about this, where they claimed our task now is to create a new human being as, it was again you, Aaron, you, I'm accusing you. You quoted that nice passage now in your book on how, this is the nice, properly Hegelian reversal of how liberation of sexuality usually ends up with liberation from sexuality. And that's the step that some Bolsheviks, not a minority, the almost majority, already did it. Almost the predominant theory in mid-20s in Soviet Union was that sexuality is the last fortress of bourgeois sensitivity. Like, in economy, we communists rule, in politics, we rule, but bourgeoisie, you, capitalist, you defined yourself, sorry, still resist at that level. So the goal was explicitly to create an asexual being.